So in this video we're going to talk about site storage and offloading of your coated timber products. So when timber leaves us, it is loaded onto the wagons using a side loader truck, obviously because of the weight and the lengths of the packs. Now when it gets to site, obviously a side loader isn't practical. Like in most cases, there's a forklift or a telehandler on site that can offload the material. Now sometimes, depending on range of factors such as access, like being like the main one, is like a mechanical offload isn't actually feasible. So then at that point we then have to go down the route of a manual offload. So when the packs of timber leave us, they are stacked and interleafed in a feather foam. So something similar to this is actually a bit of an offcut. So what we do when it's being stacked and processed in the factory prior to the delivery is we place the foam, so in between each row, so obviously depending on the width of the board, the width of the pack can vary, but in between each row of timber, you'll have your first row, and then you have a row of foam that goes over the complete row, and then you have the second row of timber, which we then turn and put face to the foam. So then the face of each board is protected so that during transport then, there's nothing that can go wrong or scratch or damage the face of those boards then. Now, sometimes depending on the system, we do foam every row. So depending on the system and the makeup of it and its characteristics, we then do foam each row. But what is essential then is when the timber is delivered to site and is being offloaded manually, it's essential that great care is taken.
The way I look at it is that we do everything we can to make this so easy. And this is why we invest in these are quite expensive materials, but they do the job for us. And this has took many years of research and development and to make sure we've got the right amount of products on there. There's no plasticides in this, so it doesn't react with the timber, with the coating, so it doesn't make it stick. And so we've gone to these great lengths. All it needs is somebody at the end of the line, whether it's a joinery company or a builder or anybody, to look at what we've done. All the information's on the pack, so it's all there. All you have to do is read it. And then if you take the thing apart and put it back the way that we did it, and then cover it with a tarpaulin or put it in an area where it's not being rained on or it's frost free, but you need to protect it. Just because it's coated timber, it doesn't mean that it can be just taken off, ragged off, and then thrown on the side of a building site, which I've seen on many occasions with dots of cement on these things. And it's a very costly thing, and it's a fully factory finished, and it should be looked after because if it's done correctly and it's fitted correctly, it'll last for many, many years.
Yeah, and I think on that, like we've spoke about this, and we use kind of an example of you don't go and buy a new sofa and the wagon turns up and you just chuck it off the side.
Just put it in the front of your garden,
the wagon and leave it there for a week.
Yeah, and then say, oh, I didn't read the instructions.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I didn't know you couldn't put it outside. You know what I mean? It's a bit of common sense, that's all we're saying.
So, yeah, we do support our customers and end users as much as possible. And it's essentially, once that wagon's there and you are then having a look at manually offloading the timber, essentially we do one row at once. And we start off obviously the top row comes off and we put that on suitable bearers and skids on the floor so that it's held off the floor at all times. And then we just go row by row, normally a few boards at a time because obviously you can't pick up 8 boards at once. So normally 3 or 4 boards and you place them down and then roll your foam out and then do your next row and you keep on building it up like that then. And then like Graham touched on, like a tarpaulin, has to go over that pack of timber in order to protect it, or alternatively the preferred method is either storing it indoors if you can in a building, or if you work with the timber supplier, so one of our partners, more often than not they can deliver that timber to site as what we would class as just in time. So as you get it on the Monday, and then you guys start installing it on the Tuesday then. So as it isn't sat outside in like exposed to the elements for weeks.
Yeah, the things that I've come across in my career is that I have seen people that will keep the packs all wrapped up together, and so it's come straight off a wagon, and then it's put into like a shipping container, which has really got no ventilation, and to be honest, that can be left out in the summer months, and you know, you could be 30 odd degrees and you're baking it, and it's like an oven in there, and so what would happen is the whole thing would start to sweat, which would affect the coatings and everything, because there's no ventilation, there's no movement of air. But there's a lot to think about when it's not just buying timber and cladded timber and fully factory finished timber. You've got to think about where is it going to go. If it's 4 meters length, it's pretty long, so you have to make sure that you've got some sort of storage available, or then work with the the timber company to maybe take it off in phases. You know, that suits yourself. You know, I think there's lots of flexibility in the market now.
Yeah, and we do that a lot.
Yeah. So to me, it's all about communication with people, and if you think that you've got your delivery coming because you're eager to get it and you want to get the project started, just make sure that you've got them facilities, because your investment, you know, I would protect it as much as you can.
Yeah. So hopefully this video has also highlighted a few bits of tender loving care that can be applied when receiving your timber. And if you like this video, please give it a like, a share, and a subscribe.